Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this very wonderful exclusive this morning. My name is Derek Wandera. I'll be hosting you on very fundamental issues this morning about education in this country, but also nurturing. We are live as we speak. We are live on all our social media channels. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And those that can get live updates on our Twitter, please log in and we will be right there giving you as many updates as possible. This morning, I am hosting a gentleman who is a renowned educationist in this country. For that matter, one of the astute education people that I have known, Mr. Patrick Lumumba. He wears many hats. He is an education expert. He is a director, owns education institutes. He is a life coach, but also one who is very fundamental and excited about the boys' upbringing. He is with us live in the studios of the News 24/7 this morning. Welcome, Mr. Lumumba.
Thank you, Derek.
It's nice to host you tonight. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event for me, and it is something that I've been looking up to and something I have always told you that you need to do. How do you feel this morning?
Well, I feel excited that finally I've accepted to come out live from my closet.
Yeah. I know it wasn't something easy to drag you to the microphone and before cameras, but given your brain, your mind, and your knowledge about things in this country, it's just imperative that we had to bring you right here. We're going to begin this quite in a very, very fundamental way. I want our viewers this morning to just try to understand who Mr. Lumumba is. If someone looked at you, what would they describe you if I didn't describe you in the best way?
Thank you, Derek. Patrick Lumumba is an educator. I started out as a secondary school teacher in Mount St. Mary's, Namagunga in 1989, where I taught, I think, from 89 up to 92, I think 91. Then I went on to Makerere to further my studies. From Makerere University, I joined Chambogo, by then Institute of Teacher Education in Chambogo, where I became a lecturer, and I taught there for 17 years. I taught in Chambogo starting in 95, Feb, up to 2011. Then I resigned. I resigned to concentrate on my own, business. But prior to that, in 2001, we had begun a school, a nursery and primary school in Bugiri. So I felt that in 2011, it was time to go. But even then, actually, after resigning, 2 years later, after resigning, I felt I should have resigned in 2001. Yeah. So I've been an educator the rest all my life, and I enjoy the job I'm doing. I'm in the private sector. Yes. That's where I put all my energies.
Great. Maybe to just bring you our viewers to speed, in 2001, when York Nursery and Primary School was started, I joined the school 2 years later as one of the pupils there in P4. Yes. And I finished in 2006 my P7. People who are much younger than me must be wondering how old I am. But let's start on the note of education. Yeah. Mr. Lumumba, you have made so many attempts to give us a stillbirth of that school that we so much cherish, especially people who went through it, but also people who envy quality education in upcountry towns of this country. How have you managed to keep going even as we speak now?
That part of the country, Giri, in eastern Uganda, was lacking quality primary school education. With the introduction of UPE in 97, it was very rare to have a child get it Division 1. I mean, get aggregate 4, because the craze in this country is that every parent wants his or her child to score aggregate 4. It was very difficult to get. In fact, when we began York National Primary School in 2001, our goal was to produce those grades, and we did produce them. We produced those grades. We produced the aggregate 4s, and we started sending children. We sent children to all the so-called first world schools: Mount St. Mary's Namagunga, St. Mary's College Kisubi, Gaza High School, King's College. We have, yes, we have sent all Ginger College, Kira College, all Muidi. We have sent children in all those schools, and me, I'm proud to say that since that was the in thing at the time, I want to say, I'm proud to say that we are successful. But as of now, if we continue, if I see the things the way they are now, if we continue to dwell on producing aggregate 4, and we leave out the other aspects, I'm afraid to say our children, our products, yes, they have been getting aggregate 4s. They go into those top schools. They go into universities. They get degrees, but they have no jobs. I think, and that's the main reason why I now come out. Should we continue doing the things the way we were doing them then, 22 years ago? Because the children are there, the products of our school are there, they have got the degrees. In fact, our parents in that part of the country, they even sell land to pay for university education, hoping that when they graduate, they'll be able to find jobs and buy back the land. Unfortunately, many of them are not able to buy back the land, and very few of them have formal jobs. So I'm thinking that we have to change our strategy going forward. Do we have to continue like that? I'm saying no. We have to move forward using another. Yes, we can continue producing the grades, but we are thinking we must start skilling the children, and that's what we started in 2022. We have begun equipping the children right from nursery. Every child, every class has a particular skill. Every class has a project that they do with their hands.
Mr. Lumumba, even before we come to that, the government has now changed the curriculum, and it's looking at a skill-oriented kind of system of education, other than the education that has been there, that you study from P1 to P7, and then at the end of the day, you have 1.5 hours to answer an English paper, math, and science and SST for you to be promoted. But there is also that aspect of continuation evaluation, which they say, I forget the term they use, but you see that continuation of evaluation where you accumulative grading. Looking at what government has gone into, what would be your take on even schools in Kampala that haven't adopted something like that of skilling? Many schools in Kampala haven't done that. What would be your take on the government policy?
What the government is doing is good. However, they're only doing it at secondary. They're not doing it at primary. But for me, I'm a believer. I am a Christian. I believe in the Bible. The Bible says, train up a child the way he should go. And to me, a child is that one still in primary. The Bible doesn't say train up an adult. But you want to start training children in senior 1. Let me tell you, Derek. If you watch YouTube, all the people who have become stars, whether Kylian Mbappe, whether this man, Tiger Woods, they started training them when they are still children, not adults. So how can you tell me you want to start training children in senior 1, senior 2? That's when you want to start skilling them. Why don't you start training them early? All these people who become guitarists, they start their skills early when they are still 3. These tennis players, Venus and Serena Williams, they began when they were still young. But you're telling me you want to start training them in senior 1, senior 2? No, I disagree. They should bring it down. That's 1. 2, the idea of government skilling children is good. However, the classes are very large. I do not know. I do not think that the government has the resources. You see, when you are doing practical skills, it is hands-on. The child must touch with his hands. Hmm? The Bible says, I will bless the work of your hands. It doesn't say I will bless the work of your job. The work of your hands. What are you doing with your hands? You must touch. A child learns more by touching, by manipulating objects. But you are saying you want to start in senior one. A child in senior one is about 12, 13, 14. What have you done with these years, these formative years, when the child was 1, 2, 3? So I think, yes, the program is good, but can you bring it down? Can you come down? And this is where now I call upon individual parents. Parents with your own children, come down and take care of your own children. As an individual, as a child, what skills are you giving that child? Your own child now. Make sure, because now, like the father of Mbappe made sure that this boy starts getting these skills early. The father of Tiger Woods, and now you see what Tiger Woods has done for his son. But for you are saying you want the government to be the one to do that. The government is going to come home to start educating. Tiger Woods was the father of Tiger Woods started educating, training him in golf at 6 months. 6 months. These star swimmers, they start at 3 months. Star swimmers, 3 months. But so, yes, what government is saying is good, but me, I think we should bring it down. And then because of the numbers are too big, and government doesn't have all the resources to avail all the skills, the practical skills. For example, you find a classroom has about 80 children in these schools these days, 80, 100. How many children have an opportunity to touch? How many? So that's the challenge which I see. But the idea is good. The idea of skilling is good by the government. But the resources.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you are enjoying this very wonderful show, I would just advise that get yourself a bottle of Rock Boom and sit back and enjoy, because this show is brought to you by Rock Boom energy drink. Feel the positive energy. We are also brought to you by York Primary School, which Mr. Lumumba is the proprietor. It's found in Bujiri, in the eastern part of Uganda. As you are there, you are thinking about something to do. Weekend is nearing. You're just out of the weekend. This midweek is also here. There is so many sports, and you are hearing Mr. Lumumba passionately talking about Mbappe. Join and log in to your Fortbet. Get yourself an account, and please subscribe and bet for very wonderful odds, and you'll be a winner at the end of the day. Mr. Lumumba, I want us to go even to dive even deeper into trying to look at the education system of scoring fours and shed for us light of those very wonderful schools, especially the first world schools to which you've been taking students, and the schools and the kind of products they produce at the moment. Do you think there is what they call holistic learning in those schools?
No, unfortunately not. One, I want to say, because the parent wants 4, we pump the children to get 4. So the children get 4s and they go to the secondary schools, and they also go to the secondary where they pump them. They pump them and they also get 4s. And then after, what can they do? There's nothing they can do with their hands because they have no skill. They have the head knowledge. Yes. They know, but they cannot do. And in my opinion, I think that's where we have the unemployment here. We have so many theorists. We have so many theorists in this country who cannot do anything using their hands. But for me, I'm saying we can produce 4s and 5s and 6s. But in addition, the children in that school, in my school, they can be able to do practical. They can make a egg. They can make breads. They can make buns. They can make quality.
Hello everyone, my name is Hannah Shirabu. I am a primary
And we're doing, by the way, very practical way. We're calling it place because every seed counts. We are not doing planting. We're not doing another.
We have taken care of these tomatoes with one.
And every seed counts, so our tray was has about 105. Make sure the 105. don't terminate, the child has to explain why.
And the harvest is
If we raise our children from nursery, seeing and doing and touching and feeling and smelling, we'll fail them to do that. That's what we do. We are not only training our children to produce this broiler chicken, mushroom, tomato, being able to swim. When they produce this,
Hello everyone, my name is Hannah Chirago. I am in primary 6 at Job Nursery.
this
I would like
what
to
the child
introduce
for
to
the
you one
effort
of our projects and this is the tomato.
was
We have
child.
taken care of these tomatoes in 1 month and 2 weeks. They
Every
are
child
ready.
should learn
The
to give
achievement we have so far attained
money
is
early
the
enough.
that we have
Why should
harvested
children
some
who have
tomatoes
finished
and
with 7, 1 year 1, beg for pocket money
as they
from
harvest
their parents? For me, that
we are raising more tomatoes in the school and
my boys did not.
we are present
wait.
young talent
But
in prosper.
they, these children have both hands and both legs, and they are not lame. They are capable of getting 4, but they are not capable of earning 10k. But we are saying these children are bright. Yes, you are bright, but you can't earn even 10k. You are depending on your parents for pocket money. No. It's for us, I'm saying you can get 4, 5, 6, first grade. But I want, in addition to that, because if you can learn to earn 5k, then you now learn the science of increasing that money to 5, 10, 8. So that's how I feel about your primary. Children should begin to earn money early. And they should learn, they go to the bank and bank it there, they line up, queue up in Seminary Bank, then, save their money. But the money that they have worked for, they know where the money comes from. They have a lot of time here at school. In my children in boarding school from 4, 8 years. A lot of time with 4 to 6. Saturday, Sunday. A lot of time, what are the children doing? We have a school academy. Me, I'm saying the skills are good. I mean, the first grade is good. I'm not disputing that part. Because there are those people who are gifted, who are born very bright. Those ones go on. They will go and pursue courses like medicine, architecture, and so on, pharmacy. But yes, and journalism as well. We need, but we need people who should produce food for this country. We need engineers. But they must have. Me, I'm saying the children should start these skills early. The engineer skills, early. All skills should be. Children should be exposed to many skills while still young, not waiting for them in senior 1 and 2, as the government is proposing. They should begin these skills early enough. In fact, at 3 years. Not in senior 2, senior 1. No, that's too far. What is this busybody doing? What's the body? For the parents who have money, they are buying these games. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. And I want to say I also bought them. But I realized it's a waste of time. Now it is, another Sunday is what? PlayStation 5. For what? I was asking my grandson who is at home. He was busy playing. And then I asked him, what skill do you get from this particular game after you have played it? In other words, I'm asking, what can you do as a result of playing PlayStation 5? He said nothing. Then he told me, it was just, passing time. Passing time. You're passing time on this. You're passing time. You're wasting time. Instead of baking bread down there, should be go and bake bread. Bake buns, bake a cake, because we have given him these skills. He's a peasant, but he can do that. He can assemble a 4-cylinder engine. We bought an engine for educational material. He can assemble a 4-stroke engine. Instead of wasting time on these games, who's going to pay you because you have played the game? So parents, we need to change the way we are handling our children. We need to give them time and train them. Training is different from teaching. Our curriculum has been based on teaching, talking to the child, nothing to do with their hands. That's where my quarrel is. Yes.
Many developed countries, the US, England, London, and all those very developed countries, there's a lot that education has to offer to the students, especially when it comes to skills. Right now, we are seeing some schools charging exorbitantly to get theoretical education. Do you feel in your heart of hearts that this is worth it?
No.
Do parents need to still be paying this kind of money for their students to go and get 4s and,
No,
and 8s. And,
no, it is just because the parents themselves are ignorant. They are gullible. They don't know. So they are, and it's so pathetic because even after COVID, parents continue to pay for this exorbitant education where there are no skills. Yet they saw that even the teachers during COVID who were, that time they used to say education is the key to progress.
Yes.
Now here they had the key, but the key could not open the padlock. Maybe somebody changed the padlock. Somebody changed the padlock, but they're not seeing that the padlock has changed. So for them, they are continuing the old way. In the developed world, in especially German, I'll speak about German. I'm told very few people go to university. After senior 6, people go for skills. People go for diplomas. People are equipped with skills. They are able to do something. That's why they are not unemployed. And that's why you see Ugandans are fighting for visas to go that side. Because there are jobs. Here there are no jobs because we have not created the jobs. We have not created the jobs because we have not equipped with the children starting early. But I want to tell you, Derek, there's a lot of work here. There are no jobs, but there's a lot of work to do. Including just in agriculture only. If I look at the farmers, the way they are producing, in our side there in the east, people are producing, in an acre of maize, they are producing 3 bags. But why? They don't have the skills. I'm also wondering, the people who graduate from Makerere in agriculture, where are they? Why should a farmer in his garden only get 3 bags per season? Me, I can get 20. I didn't study agriculture. So we are not, the parents, the first person to blame is the parent is not aware. But I think he's not aware because he's ignorant. That's why he continues to pay, thinking that when the child gets triple A at A level, then this child is safe. I'm afraid to say. I was at the university. Actually, and that's one of the reasons why I resigned, because I saw I was wasting students' time. Why should I continue to produce students who have degrees but can do nothing? And that's why now you see I have come down to primary level. Yes, we could have stopped at primary. After all, our mandate was to teach children to pass and go. But then I'm saying no. I think I'll be very unfair to these kids. Yes, since we are the foundation, I will be very unfair to these kids to give them education and they do nothing, they earn nothing from it. I'll be very, very unfair. So that's why we decided to start introducing skills from nursery. Children are able to do, children are knitting. They're able to do something with their hands.
Mr. Lumumba, probably the problem could be because the teachers also went through the same kind of education that you're talking about. But also parents did go through the same education, and that might bring the mismatch in the kind of education system and the encouragement we get from those people that are heading us. Ladies and gentlemen, my viewers, you are very, very good viewers. Our producer has done a very good job in bringing up some pictures on the screens, and those pictures that you're seeing are pictures that are coming from York Primary School. Some of those students, some of those very young kids you're seeing in tomato plantations, you're seeing in poultry farms and in the fields doing all kinds of activities are coming from York Primary School. And I would like to say thank you for all your messages. We are taking note of your messages, and there's a segment that's going to come where I will highlight some of your messages that you're chipping in. Mr. Lumumba, you have very many questions that you're going to be answering from our audiences, and please keep them coming. We are still tuned here at News 24/7. And before we go for a commercial break, I want to ask Mr. Lumumba one of the most fundamental questions I know that we have discussed before. And one of your biggest worry has been because of some of these big schools that produce kids or students or even adults who can barely even do what they are told to do in class. For instance, a journalist who cannot do journalism. Where is the mismatch?
If there's a journalist who cannot do journalism, it's the problem with the trainer. That means the trainer gave him air. He didn't train them. And that's the problem we have in this country. The educators who are supposed to give skills. I was a lecturer at the university. What is supposed to be practical or not practical? They don't have the equipment. I'll give an example. In one of the higher institutions of learning, where students are supposed to be doing a diploma in hotel and institutional catering. One of the practical subjects, they are supposed to learn how to bake a cake. Unfortunately, in that institution, they do not have an oven. They do not have an oven. How will you train a student to bake when there's no oven? We're giving air. We're giving hot air to these students. Actually, sometimes it's not the students to blame. It is the institutions where we send our children. And that's why I'm appealing to parents. It should be the role of the parent to, to work out, to make sure that this child, your child, whether he's 18, you equip him with skills. You take him to the relevant places. If it means doing homeschooling, please do homeschooling. Yes.
Mr. Lumumba, we want to go for a quick commercial break, but when we return, I want us to discuss a little bit more of what York has to offer from P1 to P7. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we return, we shall have this and more.
How long is the bread supposed to be here?
50 minutes.
When you learn to make something, to bake a cake, for example, and you bake a cake, I want to assure you, you will never fail to find someone to buy that cake.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from that quick commercial break. You're still with me, Derek, your host for this exclusive interview with Mr. Patrick Lumumba, an educationist, a serious and seasoned mentor of this country, the person who knows a thing or two about the upbringing of the boy child. When we went for the commercial break, I told you that we're going to be talking about York Primary School as one of those few schools, if not the only school in this country, which has uptaken, especially at the primary level, bringing up a holistic pupil from P1, having to do skills with education, skills with agriculture, engineering, football, sports, and all the others. But before I bring in Mr. Lumumba, I would just like to remind you that your primary school is the school to which you should take your pupil. If you want them to have that kind of holistic upbringing, it's found in Bujiri, the eastern part of this country. I know many of you are so disrupted by the schools that are in Kampala and Central Region. But hey, up country there are schools that are doing things happen. They are making things for your pupil, for your child. But also, I would like to tell you that Fortbet is the app that you need to have on your phone if you want to get money from sports. You can log into their app, have it, deposit as little money as 1,000, and you'll make as much money as $1 million. That's if you do the skill quite skillfully. And I also would like to tell you that as you watch this very good exclusive interview, you need to grab yourself a bottle of Rock Boom. Sit back and enjoy. Engage with us. Send us comments. Already I can see many comments blocking our inboxes and all the live chats. Please bring them on. We shall be pushing them to Mr. Lumumba to answer some of these very seemingly hard questions. But I know with his smartness, these are nothing. Mr. Lumumba, tell us about your primary school from P1 to P7. What does someone do in P1? What does someone do in P2, P3 up to P7 as for skilling, as far as skilling is concerned?
Thank you, Derek. P1s do onions. They produce onions. They learn how to plant them. They plant them, actually. They don't learn. They plant them.
How do you plant them?
Oh, we first do the nursery bed we buy that plastic, we call them mobile nursery beds. Plastic nursery beds, which have about 105 holes. We buy pit moss. There's a company in Muyenga there called in Holland Green Tech where we buy pit moss. We fill the pit moss. We fill the plastic nursery bed with the pit moss, and then every child we give children to put there one seed per hole. One seed per hole. So in one tray which has 105 holes, you'll have 105 seeds. Then they'll wait until the seed. They will keep watering them every day. Water them every day until the seeds germinate, and then we transfer them into the garden where now we have soil. But we have gone a step further. When we were doing tomatoes, our tomatoes were wilting. Our tomatoes were wilting, and we were having a problem because the tomatoes look very healthy at the very beginning, very nice. The plant is healthy. Until we asked an agronomist who gave us an advice what we do. So we now sterilize the soil. We sterilize the soil, even the one for onions, and now they do very well. So P1s do onions, P2s do mushrooms, P3s do matoke, and every child is allocated a hole. The child is assigned to put their manure, cow dung, goat dung, and mix it with the loam soil. After it has fermented, after some time, then the child will plant there a seedling. We use banana seedlings, which we buy from AGT Technologies in Bulova. We use these seedlings that are disease-free. And thereafter, we shall wait for a year, and that child will start harvesting matoke. When the child harvests matoke from his or her hole, that bunch, the first assignment, the bunch is allocated to the parent to buy. When the parent buys that bunch, he can take it home, or he can sell it to the school. And that money should go to the child's centenary junior account. The P4s do rabbits.
So when the parent is buying the bunch, is he buying it from school or the student?
He's buying it from the school garden, but that bunch belongs to the child.
Okay.
That particular child. Yes. Because the child is the one who put in the effort to look after that bunch. The children look after that. Right now it's the dry season. The children are not there. But we have put there a few workers to water. Yes, until we make sure that plant does not die. So the parents will buy that bunch from the child. Yes. So the P4s do rabbits. Right now we have over 70 rabbits, which we shall use for our protein source. We shall also start buying them from the children. Of course, initially the resources were for the school. So the child will earn a percentage. The P4 child will earn a percentage on those rabbits when they are eaten by them, by the way, by them. Then P5s, they do broiler chicken. P6 do tomatoes. P7, we have been exempting them to do the academics because the Ugandan parents still want the 4. We do not want to jeopardize that. Let the child continue getting the 4 since they want the 4, the 5, the 6. They want the 4, let them have them. But
are there purpose you recruit at P7? Because then
No.
if someone has not got this from beginning up to P7, then they would feel
No, our policy, we don't admit any child into P7.
Okay.
No, we do not. You didn't ask me about the nursery, but nursery also do knitting,
Oh, okay.
and they also do vegetables, the spinach, the gobe, and so on. Because all that we use in our school, they also do something. Every child, every class does something with their hands. They do watering, they do carrots. You know, for us we are sitting on 8 acres of land, so we have the land. Land is not our problem. Okay. So every child has something practical to do. Then of course the other things like swimming, there's the football academy. It's a registered football academy with FUFA. So every child must do something with their hands.
Are there children who multitask in all this?
Yes. There are children who do, what we have been doing in 2022, all those modules, we call them modules, those practical modules where, a parent will select and you pay for them. If you want poultry, you pay for it. If you want
It's mandatory.
yes, you pay for it. But if you want trimming, you pay. If you want bakery, because we do bakery as well. If you want bakery, you pay for it separate. If you don't want bakery, it's okay. We don't force you. We're not here to impose. For us, we think this is good. As a school, we think this is good. But if you think your child doesn't need to do bakery, it's all right. It's okay. Let him continue with the cram work. You see, you want the stuff of just pumping. You will continue with your this theoretical academic. We shall give you. If you want the theoretical, we shall give you that one. But for us, we believe a child should do something with his or her hands, not only theory.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you that I'm one of the beneficiaries. I have tested the chicken done or prepared by some of those students. When I went there, I was amazed. And these are some of the things that I feel we missed out. Mr. Lumumba, you should have brought out some of the things. I know we had skills like football, which are in every school anyway, but not at a level of taking children to an academy already registered with FUFA. That is something very fundamental there that you're doing. Mr. Lumumba, you do this. It is only at York.
Yes.
In Nigeria, I know there are more than 200 primary schools.
Yes.
But again, it's not only Bujiri, it's across the country. What do you think can be done to make sure that these kind of skills can permeate, percolate, and pervade all the schools, primary schools in the country, but also secondary schools?
Now, there's something in the Bible where they say, I'm just going to paraphrase it. Each one gives what he has. You cannot give what you don't have. For us, we are lucky we have these skills. We are giving what we have. So the other schools don't have these skills, I think. So they cannot give. But where we don't have, for example, now we are doing the MDD. Last year we embarked on serious training of MDD. Why? Because we have realized that human beings, Ugandans, can earn from training children how to do our cultural dances very well. And I came to this realization when I was in the US in 2021, where I found a Ugandan. I found a Ugandan who is lecturing, who is teaching these practical skills of music, dance, drama in New York University, but he has no degree. You know, he has no degree, but he's teaching at New York University, and he's very busy. He's booked. And by the way, let me, to your own information, I discovered there are only two Ugandans who have that visa called extraordinary abilities. There are only two Ugandans. That's the visa which is given to you here at the US Embassy when you have a special skill that is required by the other country. There are only two Ugandans. That young man and another one called Okello. That visa is given to you when you have a skill that you are giving. Many of us get visitor's visa. But that boy is there on a 5-year visa and it's renewable. Why? Because he has a skill, something to offer. He's teaching MDD at New York University. So we began in 2022 training our children in music, dance, and drama thoroughly. And this year we are traveling to China and Netherlands. We would have also gone to, because there's a festival in Germany from April 26th to 30th, but they wanted our passport, the children's passports, on December 16th. Unfortunately, no child had a passport. So we're just trying to process passports.
So when is the Netherlands?
It's June, July, August.
What are we going to do there? What are
They are festivals. They are international festivals. In fact, I just discovered there are so many festivals, international festivals for children. Yeah. So I hope the parents will have gotten, because it is the duty of the parent to get a passport. But now December 16th, when they wanted the passport, the children didn't have passports. Yeah.
Mr. Lumumba, that's very encouraging. There's a gentleman who sent a question. Kindly ask Mr. Lumumba, how can we get a Mbappe from Uganda where we don't have desired facilities to do so, still goes back to the government? How can that be possible?
I'll speak for York. We have begun with one. We have registered with FUFA. We have a coach. I'm aware of that. I'm looking for partnerships with these clubs outside. I've already contacted the FUFA indirectly. I'm looking for partnerships to get those clubs, because I know that those European clubs have been coming to Africa and partnering with some junior academies. I'm also hopeful that I will get some partnership from those, and we can, get some 2 or 3 children. Even if I got one child going over, I have no problem. Yes.
The other question is, do we have a plan for communities, for continuity of those skills, or as pupils leave York, that's the end of everything?
No, we have a plan. By the way, after beginning these skills last year, earlier on the parents had been pressurizing me to do a secondary school. And I was not convinced to do a secondary school. Why? Because I am not happy with what the secondary schools are offering. Cram work? No. For me, I'm not. But now with these skills, I see what the children are able to do. Now I'm thinking of a skill, a vocational secondary school. I am thinking about it seriously. Very seriously. But not the ordinary school where children are cramming history, Napoleon Bonaparte, the Ngoni invasion.
Mr. Lumumba, we have very many messages and questions coming in from our viewers, and the producer is also doing very wonderfully on playing for us some of the videos of the students or the children training in MDD. The academy is also being viewed. We have seen also children in their banana plantations, tomatoes, and even those that are baking and making very sumptuous pieces of chicken, some of which I have tasted. Mr. Lumumba, I want us to shift the gear, because one of the questions that came in is more about upbringing, and I want us to shift the gears to upbringing. You have been wonderful and very passionate about the boy child, especially the man turning into a male turning into a man and living their thuggery things and mentalities. Mr. Lumumba, I want to begin from that note. What do you think is the trouble? What do you think is the problem about men right now?
The trouble is the father. The trouble with the boy child is the father. The father of the child is not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not teaching. training and transforming his son. So what we have is we have unfathered children, unparented children. The modern Ugandan parent, once he looks for school fees and pays, he thinks he's done, the job is done, and he should move on. So this child grows up without live examples, does not see the father do. I'll take you from the very beginning. The boy child, from childhood, there was research which was done. If the boy child is mistreated when he's a baby by the house girl or the mother, and he's tortured, for example, if he has a bad housemate, and they do not clean after he has soiled himself, or let me use the local language slang, if he has pooped on himself, and the poop stays long in that diaper for long, that poop burns him. But because the baby cannot talk, that poop burns the body, and the body secretes a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol travels through the bloodstream and goes to the brain, that part of the brain that is responsible for empathy. When we see a man in his 40s battering a woman, don't think the man became bad at 40. No. Look at his background. How was he raised? Who was there when he was a baby? So these men you see who are battering wives, who are battering their own children, look at like any other building like this one, look at the foundation. For this building to stand, you look at the foundation. The bad men, which I will categorize into three. In fact, there are three character types of men. The male, the thug, and the man. Now, the male is defined as any other male. Males were created by God. Their work is to fertilize an egg and move on. Males never stay. So if you have a daughter who lands in the hands of a male, very sorry for you. If you have a daughter who lands in the hands of a male and the male walks off after fertilizing an egg, too bad. Why? She landed in the hands of a male. And I want to say this. Girls do not have the skills and experience to decide on who to marry. I repeat, girls do not have the skills and experience to decide who to marry. They can choose who to marry, but they cannot decide who to marry. That's a male. The second one is the thug. Thugs are boys who were mistreated during their childhood. They were mistreated very badly. They harbor a lot of anger. They have anger issues. Their emotional life is battered, is spoiled. When you have a daughter and lands in the hands of a thug, sorry for you. Even if you have taken her to whichever university, the thug can masquerade and put on suits. But one day the thuggery in that man will come out. And those are the people you hear, because they have a lot of anger issues, they have killed the wife. Then you say, but we were with this man. He was okay, he was chatting, but how? No, the thing was just lying low. That guy was emotionally abused as a child. Yesterday I received a video clip of a man, a young man, a boy, I think he was from Karamoja. He was tied on a tree and ants were biting him and he was crying. Ants were biting him, even entering. Now, you imagine you are raising a boy in such a way. Your form of punishment, or when you are reprimanding, he was tied on a tree and the ants were biting him all over and he was crying in his language. Yes, you can solve this problem now. You say, I've taught him a lesson. But let me tell you, you are bringing up a thug in the future. This thug, he loses all that humanity in him. And that thug, remember, he was wired as a male. He'll one day also get a girl. So then finally, the third one is the man. the man is that one who was brought up in God's own image and likeness. He has all the emotions. A real man cries. Why? Because Jesus cried when his friend died. Yet he had the power to resurrect him, Lazarus. But he cried. But the world teaches us that men don't cry. A real man has emotion. He's a normal human being. So fathers should be there for their children, especially from age 9.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lumumba. We are going to take another quick commercial break, and when we return, we will continue with the topic of children upbringing or male upbringing, men upbringing, because there's a question that was sent to us that I'll be asking you very soon. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from that quick commercial break. I know you are enjoying this show, and thanks for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen, as I host Mr. Lumumba, who is an educationist, a realist, an expert in upbringing of children, but also a passionate mentor. My name is Derek Wandera, for your host today. There are many comments which are coming in, and thank you very much, our viewers, that we shall be sharing some of those comments and the questions that are coming in. We have seen Bategani Abdallah, your comments are in. Lucy Favored, your comments have come in. Mayanja Sam, your comments are in. We thank you very much. There's Peter Sebwami. Peter Sebwami, tokobye nyao. Anyway, we shall read all your comments that are coming in. Mr. Lumumba is right still with us in the studios, and we shall be talking about more in this segment on men upbringing or developing a boy to a man. But as we do that, please hold your bottle of Rock Boom and feel that positive energy as you drink, as you sip on it. But also, as you do that, it's the month that we are preparing to take children back to school. I know that very many parents from Kampala used to take their children to the so-called Namasagali schools, Kira College Butiki, Jinja College, Soga College Mwiri, Iganga Girls, many upcountry schools. There are many parents from Kampala who used to take their students, their children there because of the quality that they were bringing. Now, it had fizzled. But Mr. Lumumba is trying to tell us that there is still more that upcountry schools are offering. For instance, your primary school in Bujiri is giving you a holistic upbringing of a child, whereby you take your child in P1, in nursery, they will be growing vegetables. In P1, they will be growing tomatoes. In P2, they will be doing, up to P7, they will be doing other kind of things on top of learning how to swim, to do the skills of football, sports, and all the others. But also, he has made mention of the fact that there are students who are learning engineering as early as nursery, engineering and assembling machines, big machines in nursery. That is something wonderful. In my view, we have not seen this thing in Uganda, probably even in Africa. But we are still with him in studio, and he'll be telling us more about this. Mr. Lumumba, when you talk about man upbringing and the passion that you have, this is not something that you can just keep to yourself. It is something that you need to spread out. I know that I have attended a conference that you have organized at Africana. I think that was in 2019. I also know that you have done a lot more work with men in Bujiri who give you their boys for teaching. But I know that now that you are widening your scope, and there are many members or parents who are going to come from Kampala, from Wakiso, from Entebbe, and all over the country. What is your plan in making sure that you inculcate the boy child, but also the parent, in the upbringing of the child?
Thank you very much, Derek. One, when my boys were young, they used to go to Green Hill Academy. And I was one of the few parents I was one of the men who would go and attend those seminars, parenting sessions. There used to be a parenting session once every term. And I noticed one thing in that session, which used to take place once a term. There will always be 98%, probably 97% women and 3% men. However, one of the things that I learned from that school is that same thing of parenting. I also took it, I adapted it. We have it in Bujiri. However, me have changed it because I'm very passionate about the boy child. And when I've been doing those parenting sessions, and we invite parents for a parenting session, parenting session is you select a particular topic. That is, actually the parents select the topic. Then you bring an expert on that topic to come and teach the parents. What we saw is that even in Bujiri, when you invite, 98% of the parents will be mothers. The men never come, it's only 2%. So, because I'm passionate about the boy child, what we have devised is we now invite men on a special day, on a Saturday, and at 6 a.m. We invite the men on a Saturday and 6 a.m. and the men come. Why? We are teaching them the role of parenting their sons. If the men cannot teach their sons, we are having a broken society. Actually, we are having what we call a defaulted manhood. I'll give you an example. In this country, in my opinion, in Uganda, we are about 47 million. But I want to tell you, in my opinion, there is only one man, there's only one family with a vision. There is only one family that has a vision. And the founder of that family passed away, or he passed on, but the family continues to grow and flourish. I want to say, in my opinion, that family is the Mulwana family. The man died, but his empire continues to grow. Why? Because he left a vision. We have heard of many families in Uganda since independence. But the moment the family patriarch passes on, that's the end. Everything is sold. Why? They do not leave a family vision, family mission, family core values, family ID. In my opinion, I can only identify one family in Uganda where the founder passed on, but the family continues to grow and flourish. And we're not hearing of any squabbles or any fighting. And they have a family ID. If someone asks, who are the Mulwanas? It is very easy to know. The Mulwanas, you talk about plastics. Nice. Yes, sir. They have a family ID. The others, where are they? So when we meet with fathers, we are teaching them all these about these values. They have to know and to build, to start planning and discussing these things for their family. The Bible says, where there is no vision, people perish. Yes. That's Proverbs 29:18. The Bible doesn't say where there is no husband, people perish. No. So when you have a vision, you can as well perish. But your empire, your family will continue to grow and flourish. But people do not leave anything. They do not have any vision written down. There's no harmony in the home. There are fights. So we are doing this for the boy. By the way, we have special programs for the boy. We are partnering with some institutions how to train the boy. For example, in the Christian faith, the boy is supposed to be the protector. The man is supposed to be the protector. But what skills? What skills are the schools imparting, giving the boy to be a protector? Assuming you're walking on Kampala Road with your wife, and then a Muyai comes and grabs the necklace. What skills do you have to chase down that Muyai and take him on? So we are equipping the boys. The boys must be protectors in their home. They have to get these skills. It's not only about succeeding in career. Our education system is only about succeeding in career. It is beyond succeeding in career. You have to be a man. You have to be a protector. There are many areas. So we want a boy, and we want to be the only school. Currently we're the only school that's paying emphasis to the boy child. What kind of boy are we producing? The boy who has passed through York. What kind of boy? What kind of man does he become? We want a man who is a man who was created in God's own image and likeness. Not a thug. We don't want to have a thug. He succeeded academically, but he's a thug. He gets someone's daughter who was equally educated, very well educated, but within 6 months they are broken. Why? He was not trained. He was not equipped. Why? The father didn't have anything to give.
Mr. Lumumba, why the boy?
I am passionate about the boy because, Derek, don't you think this will need another show?
We have a few minutes.
Okay, briefly, why the boy? When I was growing up, I saw, my father was polygamous. We are about 28 children. But I saw what he was doing. By senior 2, while my mothers were in the village, my father was continuing to import concubines into the house. And when he imported, for the first time when a concubine came, he told me, hey, you don't have to go and tell your mother's there. You're also a man. What a wrong way of parenting. So he was now inducting me in those schemes. I grew up to dislike that. Then later, why the boy child and why I'm passionate. I'm one of the last borns, by the way. Why I'm passionate. This is because the wife of my elder brother, my mother told the wife of my elder brother, the people who brought me up, that when my father was alive, my father was a police officer. When he was alive, he would bring concubines in the. Those are early days now. I think maybe I was not yet born, but he would bring concubines in the house and displays my mother from her marital bed, and she sleeps down and he has sex with the other one. If my mother dared complain, he would pour water into her eyes. These stories hurt me so much. They hurt me so much, and I said, I will not do this to my wife. And that's why I want to be a living testimony to my sons, that you can live with your wife. And you can live with your wife and build a vision and have family core values, family mission, and that's why and I have a school, I see how children are suffering. By the way, we get to know the inner feelings of the children. There's a way we do it and we're able to know. Many children are hurting. It's like I told you at the beginning, parents think that once you pay fees, my job is done. No. Boys from 9 onwards, they need approval, they need affirmation from the dad. They are listening. All senses are listening to hear dad's word of affirmation. From age 9, they are listening. Unfortunately, many boys have not been affirmed. And that's why, up to as recent as last year, 2022, we lost a man in Bugiri of 65 years. And why did he die? He died because of excitement. His father, who disappeared in a ministry gym, returned when the man was 65. And because of excitement of seeing his father, the man got high blood pressure and he passed on. All children, all boys are longing for their fathers. All sons are longing for affirmation from their dad. All of them. No one should deceive you. They are waiting for that word of affirmation from the father. But fathers are not giving it. And that hurts the boys. They feel inadequate. And because they feel inadequate, some of them go out to prove it in a wrong way by getting several wives. They think by producing more children outside, then they are now men. No. They're still something is lacking inside them. Nobody is parenting the boy child. For the good girls that we have who have been properly raised, nobody is raising the good boys. So unfortunately, we are raising good girls, but they are not going to find the good men.
For the fact that you're following. Thanks for the comments. I have more than 200 comments, and I hope I can read all the comments. Lucy Favored, how are pupils at York helped to build their faith in God? But I must say, as far as good comments from Adolphe Wamboka, I have seen comments from Martin Oburu. Thanks for your comments. I would like you to first answer that question, Mr. Lumumba, in terms of raising and upbringing.
Thank you, Derek. We have a pastor who comes from Watoto Church, Children's Church, who comes every Sunday, and the one who is leading the children in that area. She's very well qualified. She has had those trainings, very well qualified, has done very well. In fact, it is through her that we are able to know some of the things happening. I'll give you